Year 3 Occupational Therapy student at SIT.
Hi, my name is Han Min. I'm a Year 2 Radiation Therapy from SIT.
Hi, my name is Leon and I'm a Year 4 Physiotherapy student.
One thing that I really remember very well from the scholarship was actually the HSIC, and I actually really enjoyed myself bonding with the other scholars that were being enrolled in my year.
I think the course itself is really fun because we have to work with learning a lot of different activities. So one activity that we learn is leisure. So we got to do paintings, we got to do gardening, and OTs are also responsible for helping to teach people how to use personal mobility assistive devices. So we got to do a bit of wheelchair racing around the place, play with the scooters a bit. It was quite fun.
Most memorable one will probably be my clinical placements. So in school we actually are taught to actually treat conditions, treat illnesses per se, but when you really get to do your clinical placement and a real patient stands in front of you, you're no longer treating a condition, you're actually treating the person itself, treating his life. So the experience and the satisfaction you get when a patient actually improves, and no matter how small it is, it's something that you can never experience in school on its own.
Hi, I'm Eugene. I'm from NUS Pharmacy. I'm a Year 2 student.
Hi, I'm Hui En. I'm a Year 3 student at Nanyang Polytechnic studying nursing. I think for me it was more of gaining a lot of overseas clinical exposure because I went to Japan for 1 week and then I went to University of Pennsylvania for 2 months. So it really allowed me to gain a lot of exposure into the different nursing culture overseas as well as the studying culture, and I really learned how to be more proactive and outspoken.
I think for me it's about learning how to formulate different dosage form in the lab, as well as practicing effective communication, which we learn during our pharmacy one-to-one counselling sessions. Another point is that I really enjoyed my healthcare scholars induction camp because we played many activities that focuses and emphasize on teamwork. And I think this is very important, especially in a healthcare patient-centric setting.
I had to learn to be very adaptable because I planned this really well-detailed intervention. Then the moment I met the patient and I started the first activity, I just took the plan and I threw it out the window because the patient was doing a lot better than I thought he would. Yeah, so I think being able to adjust to the needs of people who are in themselves very complex, yeah, I think that's quite tough.
During the year 1, when we first started, all the classes, particularly was anatomy and physiology, I think it was really different because the in-depth knowledge that they expect you to know, like, wow, we have to memorize all these muscles and all these different pathways and physiologies. I think it's very different and it's very challenging, but actually it's quite a memorable period as well, because that's when you go through it with your friends and you get through it together.
Studying is not actually my forte. So especially when it comes to academic writing, examinations and theoretical textbook studying. So definitely that was the biggest challenge I had, but definitely with friends' help, my professors' help, then everything became much smoother.
So for me, I think like one of the tough moments will be trying to keep up with my academic achievements, because a lot of time I have to maintain the mindset that whatever I'm learning now is not to really get the academic grades, but more of to really absorb what I'm learning so that I can apply them to the clinical setting to really help my patients.
For me, it's about learning how to manage the commitments between the academic side as well as the non-academic commitments. Because for myself personally, I'm in NUS fencing, so there's a need to balance between them.
So I actually did some recreational badminton, and I actually joined the student management committee as well to help plan events for my cohorts.
Healthcare very important. I think making sure you rest, give yourself breaks, pace yourself well. Don't try to chong everything last minute. You will get very tired very fast, and then you realize that you have project after project after project and you will never stop. Yeah.
So for me, it's just simple: food and sports, these two.
I really like to plan ahead. So when I have any important deadlines, I will keep them in mind and really plan when I should start on them to prevent overshooting the deadlines.
I think one tip is to work with a group of friends, because I think dependable friends are important to help you tide through difficult moments in university. Another thing is about prioritizing our work.
Okay, so for physio, I guess the most common misconception is they are actually masseuse. So massage is actually just a very small, maybe just 1% of one of our treatment interventions. actually encompass more of rehabilitation. So seeing patients with stroke, getting them back on their feet, maybe after a stroke, or maybe someone with an accident, unable to walk properly, retraining their walking style and everything. That's more of what physio is actually about.
For me, I think a very common misconception is actually when I tell people that I'm a radiation therapist, they ask me, oh, so you take x-rays? Technically, that's true, but that's not the main job. For radiation therapy, we treat patients with cancer. So our main treatment is radiation therapy, using x-rays to treat cancer. And the last thing a lot of people ask is that do you get a lot of radiation from the treatment? Because yes, we do deal with radiation, and actually there are a lot of protection in place, and we have personal monitoring devices to actually monitor how much radiation you get.
We are not physiotherapists, it's not interchangeable, neither are we job coaches. What our occupation in occupation therapy means is the activities that we are need to do, want to do, or are expected to do. And what occupational therapy deals with is we help people to get back to their daily functioning, their daily lives, and the routines that they used to engage in before the onset of a disability or an illness.
I think one myth about pharmacists is that people tend to believe that they just dispense drug at the pharmacy counter. But there's actually a lot of work going on behind the scenes. So for instance, there's a medication reconciliation, which is about ensuring there is no omission of drugs, any drug-drug interaction or duplication of drugs. So this is important because we prioritize medication safety over efficacy. So sometimes it might take a bit longer for pharmacists to dispense drugs.
I think for nursing, one of the myths would be that nursing only takes care of patients' basic activities of daily living, such as toileting and mobility, but that is not entirely true, although that is part of our job scope. So what we actually do is to really have to multitask and talk to allied health professionals, as well as communicate with doctors, know the medications, know the investigations, such as the blood results, what are they for. So it's really more of having a holistic care for our patients, be it physically or psychologically.
I think that the opportunity to network is a really good aspect of being a healthcare scholar, especially with your scholar friends from other disciplines, as well as people who are a bit higher up on the hierarchy. I think it's very interesting to hear about their experiences and to see how the healthcare industry is constantly evolving and stepping up with new measures and new ideas to keep it going and to provide better care for everyone.
I think one reason to be a healthcare scholar is that you get to meet other healthcare students from other healthcare disciplines, and I think this is very important so that we can understand what roles they play in a patient-centric setting, so that you know what each healthcare professional is responsible and what they are doing in a hospital setting.
I think for me, one of the reasons to be a healthcare scholar is actually to meet like-minded people with a similar passion and drive. So it actually keeps you motivated and determined to actually excel in what you're doing rather than having thoughts of wanting to give up along the way.